The fewer goals you set, the more likely you are to achieve them and the more satisfaction you'll get after completing them. When we have 10 goals floating around our head, when we complete one, it just won't be as rewarding because we know we've got 9 more to go. So there's this research paper called The Computational Structure of Consummatory Anhedonia. Right, a load of big words, but essentially what it's about is not feeling pleasure or enjoyment during activities that would normally give you pleasure, and what's going on in the brain when that happens. And there's a section on it that's dedicated to setting goals. So if we have a look at this photo, in the E part of the diagram, it's shown how focusing on one clear goal, like the purple path for a career goal, leads to a greater sense of progress and satisfaction, compared to trying to balance multiple goals at once, like the yellow path, which is focusing on a career goal and a self-care goal. So essentially there's the career goal and the self-care goal, and at the top right there's the little black circle, and that represents achieving both goals. So the closer they get to that point, the happier they feel. So the purple person right at the top is focusing fully on a career goal, and the yellow person is working on a career and a self-care goal. And in the end, they both achieve the goal, but the purple one has more satisfaction. So introducing the second goal is reducing the happiness impact you would get from making progress in the first goal. So hopefully that made sense. If it didn't, essentially, the more goals you introduce, the less rewarding it'll feel when you complete one goal. If I'm being honest, there's loads of parts of that study that went over my head. There's a whole equation in it that fuck knows what that means. I don't think that study's saying that you should only have one goal at a time. I feel like it's saying you should have one big goal at a time and not have too much floating around your head. So instead of having multiple health and career and relationship type goals, just focusing on one category and having a few goals in that one category. So if we just get back to the anhedonia thing, which is what the paper is all about, people with anhedonia who have a low mood tend to suffer from having too much goals floating around their head, which makes everything feel overwhelming and just undoable. For example, so this is something I got off ChatGPT. So someone dealing with low mood or hopelessness might say something like this: I've just felt so lost and overwhelmed lately. Every time I look around, it seems like everyone my age is achieving their dreams, while I'm just stuck in a rut. I have a long list of goals, career milestones, travel plans, personal development, and it all just feels like I'm never going to be able to do any of it. And if you can see the problem there, they just have too much going through their head. They've got too much plans, which makes everything feel unachievable. But if they focused on just one or two realistic goals, they would regain control, feel a sense of agency, and more likely start moving forward. And I've noticed this myself with setting too much goals or tasks. So I'll complete things throughout the day, but because I know I've got the next thing to do, I'll never give myself the time to sit in the satisfaction of completing stuff. It's even the same with my bigger yearly goals. So I spent a good amount of time at the start of the year creating a system with loads of goals and sub-goals, and I've just noticed throughout the year when I've been ticking stuff off that it doesn't feel that satisfying, because I tick it off and then I scroll down and see what I could be doing next. And I think knowing all this now, next year, instead of setting myself loads of goals, I think I'm just going to go for one yearly theme. And if you don't know what a yearly theme is, essentially, instead of giving yourself goals around, I want to spend X amount of time with my family, you would give yourself the yearly theme of family comes first, or the year of connection. And then, as long as you make decisions throughout the year that are related to that, then you've achieved the goal. You basically pick a word or a phrase, you keep it at the front of your mind throughout the whole year, and then make decisions based off that theme. That way you'll avoid feeling overwhelmed by all the things you feel you need to do, and you can make some meaningful progress in the one area. Now, all that being said, I still think giving yourself a rough vision for what you want out of life is valuable. I also think that giving yourself 3 or up to 3 specific goals each month is valuable. I don't think anyone should go about goalless, but I do think that the yearly goals just aren't that useful, and so yeah, next year they'll be out of the picture for me. When it comes to your big life goals in your career, relationships, health, they need to be broken down, because the more doable something feels, the more likely you are to make progress. So if you're currently overwhelmed by an area of your life and it seems like you've got too much to do, just try to break it down as much as you can, because it's likely if you are in that state, you're just thinking too far ahead. You've envisioned all the stuff you need to do, and that just results in no progress. So whatever it is, break it down. At the end of the day, all your tasks, all your goals, they shouldn't be seen as things that you should do or need to do, because in reality, you don't need to do any of the positive or challenging things you do. And for some people, this might just be a crazy thing to think about, but you don't need to set yourself goals. You don't need to do these things. So success or not, appreciate everything you have done and the progress you've made so far.